Hello everyone! Today I really wanted to try to replicate a dollhouse, and not in like full sim real size. I wanted to make the dollhouse exactly in its size. I went with the dollhouse from the Royalty and Legacy pack specifically because it doesn't have roofing, and there was no way I could figure out how to put roofs that small. So this one just seemed the easiest. And the way that I made the body of the house was I used these Book Nook kit, the modular shelves. They just seemed the easiest to me to replicate it without having to tool mod a whole bunch of other things. I do end up using tool mod on every object that goes into this, obviously. Using the bracket keys, you can only size things down so small. And for the little rooms on the side, you'll see in a second here that I end up using the tiny living modular shelves as well. And obviously it is The Sims, so the scaling and the sizing is not all going to be exactly the same. So the sizing of the rooms of the dollhouse and the one that I made are not the same, but that's okay. It's as close as I could get. And this was really giving me a hard time. It wouldn't let me add more walls without deleting the bottom shelf, which was super weird, but I ended up just putting them back in to be able to put the tiny living shelves on there. And once I started getting all of these in, I really started to see the vision coming to life, and I was like, okay, this could definitely work. And no, I did not do the front of the dollhouse because when you look at it, it has a weird patio sticking out of it, and I really just didn't know how I would be able to replicate that. Also, it has windows and doors, and The Sims just doesn't like when you size down things like that. I maybe could have gotten away with the door, but I was not about to start messing with windows. I really wanted to put columns on the corners to look like the front of the dollhouse, well, the front that we're seeing, and columns do not resize, so that was out. So I scrolled through debug for a very long time. This is a very short clip of the whole time I actually scrolled through, trying to find anything to be columns, and I just could not find anything. But I ended up using the shelf as kind of the platform for the entire dollhouse, and I think it ended up looking pretty well. I definitely had to tool mod a whole lot, and you'll see later in the build, I try to move the rooms of the dollhouse, and because they're modular, they started acting super weird when I would try to elevate the entire thing. Only the middle ones would elevate, or only the outside boxes would elevate. I really wanted to try to get this as close as possible to the actual dollhouse, and I knew it wasn't going to be perfect, but I was really trying. And I used that little shelf in the front there to kind of be that part jutting out that has the circular plant on it. And I think it ended up working really well. I ended up pushing the entire thing into the ground so you don't see the bottom gray part. And it looks really well. This is that part where I was having issues with the shelves because I was like, oh, with tool I can just move the entire thing down. But of course, it didn't end up working out like that, which was very annoying. I also had that rug sitting there because I was going to try to tool mod a rug to the back walls of the dollhouse for the wallpaper. But then I very quickly decided that I did not want to mess with tool mod all that much. I'm not very good with the rotating and the moving part of tool mod. I mainly use the scale and elevate just because they're the easiest. But I ended up finding something that worked, and I loved this part because I felt like I had the exact perfect plant for that little circular plant part. The only thing was that I could not find something to give the green hedge around it. I could have gone in with the little square hedges and gone all around it, but I didn't want to put that much work into it, and I felt like it still looked the same. Also, my game, I don't know, because I just re-downloaded tool mod, so I don't know if it was because of that, but my game kept turning off move objects, and that was very annoying. And I know I was just saying that I didn't want to do all the stuff with the hedges, but I did do them for the side bushes because nothing else would have worked. So I just went and sized them all down as much as I could with the bracket key, and then I went in with tool mod and got the scale size that I wanted. It was also really annoying because I guess my game was like in a season that the plants are kind of dead because they were brown. So that kind of ticked me off that they weren't that vibrant green. But it's okay. You guys get the vibes and you understand how it looks. And I actually really loved how like polished they looked, being alt placed over there and all lined up super perfectly. That was really nice. So with how the columns didn't like being sized down, fences are obviously the same, so I kind of had accepted that I wasn't going to get a fence up on the top there because I had already looked and didn't find anything, but then I found these little stone like pillar pieces. I envisioned these being on like city sidewalks from the Get Together pack. And I was so excited when I found these because I knew that I would be able to get that stone fencing up on the top of the build. So I just sized them down and then alt placed them and then tool modded them to fit in there perfectly. And then after scrolling, I ended up finding another piece from Get Together that was perfect, and it was meant to be because I was finally able to get the stone fencing up on the top. And so once again, I put them up there, tool modded them, and then alt placed them to fit in, and I think it looked so perfect. It's obviously not the same as the fence that's on the dollhouse, but it really had the same vibes, so I was very happy with the way that it turned out. And then after adding those in, I went to add in the statue that's on the side of the dollhouse. I couldn't find the same statue in-game, so I just found the one that I thought was the closest. So again, I just sized her down and then put her in there and then tool modded her so that she just wasn't floating. And after putting the statue in there, I then found what I wanted to use for the wallpaper in the build, and it was just these curtains from My Wedding Stories. They have a good few pink swatches on them, and I do end up like going through all of them at different points in the build just because I wasn't liking the way that it was looking. These curtains do have like a wooden mount at the top, so I really did my best with the tool mod to kind of hide it in there, but you can still see it in the room a little bit, but it's okay, just don't look at it. And then I added the curtain in a smaller size just up in this top room here, so the detailing is a little bit more noticeable in this top room because it's just the entire curtain is in one room instead of the bottom how it's the entire back. And now we're getting into the fun part where I get to put the furniture into the rooms, and I was genuinely surprised. I mean, I guess it's the first time that I've like looked at the dollhouses in depth, but I was genuinely surprised that the furniture that they use in the dollhouse is pretty much all the same furniture in the game. I think the only thing that I couldn't find exact replicas of was the small dining table in the bottom right corner and the picture frame on the back wall, but I found pretty close ones. With all of the furniture items, I did the same thing again, just sizing them down with the bracket key and then using tool mod once I placed them in the room to put them more to the proper scale. Here I go changing the curtains to change the wallpaper color. Once I started putting the furniture in, I realized that the back was just too light with all of the furniture being white. The pink was just too light that there wasn't enough contrast between the two. And with this bookshelf, I used this one at first. There's actually two kinds of bookshelves from this pack. I used the larger one, and they actually used the smaller one in the dollhouse, and so I go back and change it. Once I put the other one in the bottom left corner in, that's when I realized that it wasn't the proper scaling. But I really had a ton of fun doing this build, just trying to like replicate it as much as possible, and I definitely think I want to do maybe like a little series where I try to recreate all of the dollhouses in full scale, like full living scale size. I think that could be really fun to try. But this one was really fun because it was a lot more challenging because obviously you can't just like build walls and make them smaller. The Sims just doesn't work like that, so I had to find objects that are not like what you would build a house out of, but it works for this. I don't show it, but after I built it, I did have a Sim on the lot, so I did like see if anything functioned, and obviously nothing did. I kind of expected that it wouldn't, but I thought maybe she'd at least be able to like grab a book off the bookshelf, but nope, nothing here functions. It did make it really easy that all the furniture that was used in the dollhouse was also in-game, so I didn't have to like hunt to try to find something super similar. It was just in the game. If you guys do want to see me do real life-size builds of all the dollhouses, please let me know. I'm probably going to do it anyway because that just sounds really fun to me. I had also thought about grabbing the fake like shell houses from Debug, the ones that you see in like the world background, and trying to maybe like recreate some of those houses. But yeah, again, I just had a lot of fun with this build. I think it's always fun in The Sims to kind of do something out of the norm, and this game just has so many items that can double as something else if you just kind of look outside of the box a little bit, which is another reason why doing these is so fun, because you grab items that you might otherwise not use and they end up being perfect for something else. If you guys have any other ideas for any like weird, out of the box, not the norm builds like this, please let me know. I think that these are super fun and I think they're entertaining for you guys as well, I hope. I love building houses and community lots and like normal stuff obviously, but it's always fun to add something a little bit different in there. But I am going to stop talking now and let you have the rest of the build with just some music. But if you liked it, give the video a like or drop a comment. Let me know if you liked something, if you didn't like something. That'd be really awesome to see. But I hope you enjoyed watching the build, and I'll catch you next time.